Good morning and thank you all for watching this interview. Today we have the pleasure to speaking with Matthieu Reeb. He is director of the Court of Arbitration of Sport, or CAS, TAS in Spanish. Matthieu, welcome to AmCham and thank you for being here.
Thank you very much for inviting me, and I'm very pleased to be here today.
Perfect. Well, today we have an interview. We're going to talk about some of the roles of CAS. Matthieu is going to explain us at the first hand as he's the Director General. So let's begin. What is the main role of CAS in the global sport system?
Well, first of all, CAS is an arbitration institution. So I think arbitration is very popular in Peru, but it's important to remember that we give justice. It's a private justice recognized by state courts. And we are specialized in sport so that we can solve all type of legal problems concerning sport. We do not deal with field of play cases, for example, the red card, the offside, whether there's a goal or not. This is something that we leave for the referee, for the umpires. We only deal with the legal consequences, the legal interpretation of the regulations, and this is why we have a lot of different type of cases, but all connected to sport.
Could you explain us how a case typically reaches to CAS?
Well, we have two different procedures, the ordinary procedure and the appeal procedure. Maybe the appeal procedure is more famous. So the system is like this. So a federation will first investigate and render a decision concerning a typical case of disciplinary, or if it's football, it's maybe a transfer issue. And if one of the parties, it could be a player, it could be athletes, club, is not happy with the decision, it's possible to file an appeal at the second instance, which is CAS.
Okay.
And so we review the entire case, the facts and the law, and it's like a new procedure from scratch, and we render a new decision in the end.
Nice, perfect. Actually, I know that you take cases from all the sports. I don't know how maybe they can be different. For example, if you talk about football against maybe basketball or another kind of activity.
Yeah. Yeah. Football is sport number one at CAS. 70% of our business is concerning football. Not only FIFA cases, but it could be continental cases, like with CONMEBOL, for example. Or it could be national cases, like in Peru, we have a lot of disputes. But it's not the same, it's the only country. We have other countries using CAS as a kind of last instance for national cases. And it's very interesting because we touch a lot of different problems. Could be disciplinary, could be licensing, transfer, etc. I would say basically the most interesting part of the job is that in football, all type of disputes can be submitted to CAS.
Yeah, actually, I was going to ask you about the football disputes. Which are the most common? What is the process that they have to take?
Well, it depends on the type of case, but let's take the most classical example with FIFA. FIFA would be like the football tribunal of first instance dealing with an employment-related dispute. If, for example, a club doesn't pay the salaries anymore to a player can complain, and maybe he will breach the contract because he's no longer paid. There could be a dispute with the club. FIFA will render a decision, which then can be appealed to CAS by either party, so the player, the club, depending who is not happy with the decision. It has 21 days to file an appeal. And then we have the full procedure at CAS, including exchange of written submissions, so all the documents, and an oral hearing. The hearing is normally conducted in person, but now, especially after the COVID period, we have developed also a better technology to have video conference hearings. The remote hearings are also very practical because we can save time, we can save money, and they can be conducted at any time, any place.
Perfect. Actually, you talk about CONMEBOL and also Latin America. What are the most common cases here? Maybe how they differ to other regions?
I don't see a really big difference. I think all type of cases are quite similar everywhere in the world, because Spanish became an official language of CAS only in 2020, so only 5 years ago. Perhaps now there is a bigger use of the CAS system from South America and from Spanish-speaking parties. And it shows also that in some countries, some regions, there's still development to make in terms of legal regulations, in terms of procedures, internal procedures, and governance in general. So what happened in Europe some years ago, we can feel it's developing in South America because there are more sports lawyers. I think the federations are better organized and the rules are also clearer than in the past.
Nice, that's perfect. Actually, I am very interested in, as you say that you have adopted Spanish as also an official language. What are going to be like the repercussions or what is going to be that, to mean that for CAS and also to the operations in Latin America?
I think the answer is clear. It's more flexibility because we can use the language without translation. Obviously, when there's a dispute between a Brazilian club and for example, Argentinian or Uruguayan or Peruvian club, we need to choose the language because Brazilians, they prefer to select English rather than Spanish, and the same on the other side. So English would be used in that type of dispute, but if Brazil is not involved and CONMEBOL is involved, for example, Spanish would be the normal language of arbitration. So it means also that it's more direct. If there is a hearing, we can have also Spanish-speaking arbitrators. So no need for interpreters, no need to translate documents, and that's much more efficient.
Perfect. How long could a CAS procedure take, more or less?
It depends. If we take a classic appeal, normally I would say 6 months is a normal duration. Approximately 3 months to 4 months up to the hearing, and 1 month, maybe a little bit more, to get the full decision with grounds. So we try to reduce the time, but it depends on many factors because if the lawyers of the parties request extensions of time to file submissions or to postpone the hearing, it could extend the duration of the procedure. But we do our best on our side to reduce the time for the administration of the case, also for the organization of the hearing and the notification of the decisions.
Okay, perfect. Actually, right now technology is like going a lot to sports. I mean, in football we have the VAR. You can be like agree with that. Sometimes they make good decisions, bad decisions. What is like these implications that the more use of technology, or how does CAS see it in all these football and also sports activity?
This is not a matter for CAS to determine whether it's good or not, but we have maybe one case involving the use of VAR, which was not exactly how to use VAR. It's a Swiss case, but one Swiss club complained that for the semi-final of Swiss Cup, it was not possible to use the VAR. Although the club had all the infrastructure, it was possible to use it, but because on the second semi-final, one of the clubs did not have the technology, the federation decided that there would be no VAR at all, and for the 2 games, so the 2 semi-finals, which created a problem because during the first semi-final involving the first division clubs, there was a dispute with the referee. He gave a penalty kick. I think it decided the result of the game, and there was a big complaint and scandal after that. But we don't have I don't remember that we had a specific case concerning the application of VAR. My opinion is that it's probably a good development in general, but we should use the VAR system more, I would say, consistently. Because it's always the decision of the referee to say, okay, I watch the picture, I don't watch it. And I think the public does not understand why in certain circumstances there is a review and in other circumstances the referee doesn't want to review the pictures.
Yeah, that's actually something that is really, I will say that that's the main complaint of everyone regarding VAR. Something also that I find really interesting is everything related to lawyers, especially that they want to dedicate to sports. As you being the director of CAS, are you seeing a lot of young people interested in entering all these sports laws world?
Yes, I think there are more and more law firms also having a kind of special department dedicated to sport. Even in Switzerland, I can feel that it's not easy to dedicate a career only on sports arbitration or sports law because there is not enough work on a daily basis. And if you have to make a living with a firm, it's not so easy. But we can see more and more, I would say, specialized people in sports law, but they would do something else next to that.
Okay, perfect. And here in Peru and also in Latin America, maybe what advice would you give to young lawyers that maybe they want to be interested in entering this sports law or like maybe to CAS or maybe to another firm specifically dedicated to sports?
I think first it requires certain knowledge of sport, general knowledge. certain passion also, because I think it's important that every lawyer feel interested by this discipline. And as a term of education, I can see that now more and more universities or third level degrees have a special course dedicated to sports law and sports arbitration. And especially in Europe, you can see more and more universities having this kind of special program. Nice. That's a good start for the young lawyers to be with. For example, CAS this week organizes what we call the SLAM, which is the moot court, so a kind of exercise court of arbitration for sport for young students. So they could play the role as lawyers and have a real hearing with real arbitrators and compete. It's like the Champions League of sports lawyers, nice. Young sports lawyers, so that they can measure also their level of activity. I can feel that there's more and more interest in sports law and sports arbitration. You can focus on that, but you still need all the general disciplines of law. So because we do some criminal, we do some, which is not criminal, but disciplinary cases. Sometimes so we have contractual issues, sometimes we have administrative issues. So you need a general background in law.
Okay, perfect. Actually, Matthieu, that was all the questions that I have. I don't know if maybe you would like to add another comment or something that maybe we missed on the interview.
Maybe it's important to say that if I'm here today, it's for the conference that we organized together in Peru, in Lima, focusing more on sports, commercial arbitration, so contractual issues in sport, also a little bit of disciplinary and doping, and the goal is really to get to know CAS a bit better here. And the goal is also to create a kind of hub for CAS hearings here in Lima, in case we have hearings to organize involving South American parties. Also. And we hope that it's a good collaboration to come.
And this hub is going to be like mainly in Lima, or you have also these hubs maybe in Buenos Aires or in other cities in South America?
Well, we could organize hearings everywhere in the world, perfect. But the objective here is maybe if we have a hearing to be organized in the region, we know that in Lima we can be welcome, and that perhaps it's easier to organize it on short notice. But of course, if we have Brazilian, Argentinian parties, maybe they prefer to stay in Buenos Aires or in Sao Paulo rather than traveling all the way to Lima. But we will see how it goes. And that's what we call an alternative hearing center of CAS. Nice. We will record this as a real official hearing center, and that would be also some good publicity for the AmCham and the arbitration center here.
Of course, perfect. Well, thank you very much, Matthieu, for your time. That was all for this interview. Thank you very much for watching us, and well, let's see in another interview. Thank you very much, Matthieu.
Thank you. Gracias.